Laemmle League, there's been a trade. Jamar Chase has been acquired by our commissioner, Eric Patton. Caitlin has acquired Cortland Sutton, Clyde Edwards-Hilaire, and Jeff Wilson Jr. Let's hear you chat it up in the fantasy chat, and we'll see what happens in Week 10. Now back to the regularly scheduled podcast. All right, Week 9 of the Laemmle League. Here's your commissioner, Eric Patton.
Thank you, Mike D. It's a pleasure to be with you. Thank you for having me. And it was an exciting week, as it always is in the Laemmle League.
Yes, fun football week. I had great time with my matchup. I think
I'm sure you did.
Yeah, Justin changed his name and just to emojis halfway through the game.
That's when you know you've broken the will of your opponent. When he changes his team name in the middle of the game to two emojis, one frustrated, angry perhaps, and another one just crying.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and pull that up. As you can see, there's Justin, the artist formerly known as Justin. I think it was something about Gino this week. It was Gino Surrender.
Oh, yeah.
Gino.
I see the movie poster there.
Yeah. I'm not getting the entire title. It's Gino Quit, Gino Surrender, or something to that effect.
I think so, with Geno Smith, which I did have. I thought Gino might have be a superstar, but I mean, come on, Joe Mixon. That's all I have to say.
I mean, yeah, that's the beginning and the end of this conversation. Is Joe Mixon. He treated that Carolina defense like an Oklahoma University co-ed. I said it. I went ahead and said it. He did, and I'm not making fun of what he did. I'm making fun of him.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. Wow. 53.1 points, 153 yards, 5 total touchdowns.
Yeah. I didn't even have to check in. It was just everywhere I went, there was notifications. There was teams cutting in. Joe Mixon scored another touchdown and another touchdown. It's a record.
Yeah.
And I think per our last show, I was upset that they were not using Joe Mixon to his abilities the last game. I think he only had like 12 points or something like that. And then turn around next week, 53, puts on 53 points. And I was just, I was like, okay, I think I'm in cruise control.
I think so. You know, when you see that, you got to feel pretty good about your team. You had Christian McCaffrey on a bye. You had Saquon Barkley on a bye.
Yeah.
You know, and you still put up 160 points. That's incredible. It's terrifying to think what you might have done if the two of them had been playing. Fair to say maybe that Joey B gets a little tunnel vision sometimes. We've seen some games where Burrow just goes to Chase and nobody else. With Chase, you know, not being able to play in this game, you think at some point he just went, all right, Mixon's got these guys. I'm just going to feed him.
Yeah, that's I think that was the strategy, and that's a good strategy for them. And I will say, I admit, I was nervous going into this game with Barkley and McCaffrey on the bench.
Sure.
I know A.J. Dillon's not playing that well. And then I had Waller last minute. I switched in with Juwan Johnson, which I have him in another league. So I'm confident with him the last 3 weeks. I was like, hey, he might score a touchdown, so I'll be good. But Mixon kind of negated all that and just
he did indeed.
Yeah.
He didn't need. In fact, you mentioned Juwan Johnson. He might have been my favorite. He might have provided my favorite moment of the week because on Monday Night Football, you know, he had 1 catch for 1 yard, and then in the definition of garbage time, Dalton hits him on the sideline, and the defender. Who were they even playing? The defender for Baltimore. 2 guys had a chance to tackle him, and I think they thought he had stepped out of bounds. In fact, that is what happened. They were convinced that he had stepped out of bounds, and maybe because of the fear of all these late hit, roughing, unnecessary roughness penalties that are going around, maybe they didn't want to take the chance, so no one touched the guy. and he just went down and scored the easiest touchdown of the
Yeah,
week, giving you just another,
yeah,
whatever, 12 points or whatever that resulted in. It's fantastic.
that was awesome.
There were two moments like that. There was a moment where Kyler Murray threw an interception this
Yeah,
week, and he jumped over the guy who had intercepted the pass instead of touching him, and the
yeah.
guy got up and ran.
Don't touch him. Jump over him.
Got to touch him, man. Got to touch him. So yeah, I mean, look, you did end up getting solid games from Jalen Waddle, 85 and a touchdown, and then Christian Kirk, 76 and a touchdown.
Yeah.
Everyone else was solid, and then you had just the outburst from Mixon, and that's how you're going to get high points in the league oftentimes.
Yeah. And I needed that. I actually needed that win because Josh Allen's now questionable for my next game and Joe Burrow's on a bye. So I'm probably going to start Garoppolo, but yeah, I would be worried if I dropped to uh I would have been yeah, below 500, I think.
Is there
So
some worry for you long term about Josh Allen? What do you
a
think this
little
is
bit,
a
yeah.
minor thing? This ends the season of a pitcher in baseball, this same injury, but it's different.
Yeah.
He had, from what I understand, he had the same injury his rookie year and sort of played through it.
Yeah. It's different form to throw the football, I guess. So
Mhm.
it's not I guess it would be just more annoying, but I don't know if I was the Bills, I would sit them 1 or 2 games, let them rest up, let Case Keenum play. You can't get too far behind. So yeah, I for me, hopefully he comes back when the playoffs start, or else I'm
Yeah.
going with Joe Burrow.
Well, you do have a good, yeah, you've got a great backup. I mean, that's why you got Joe Burrow. I mean, he right now sits as the quarterback three. He's the quarterback three in the league. He's coming off of a very mediocre game.
Yeah,
So, no one's going to be feeling too bad for you, Mike D.
no,
Um,
you should not.
it's interesting that Case Keenum's the backup, though. I mean, he and Diggs have that connection, obviously, from their Minnesota days. You wonder how much a role that played in him, being the backup there.
Yeah, and they're playing the Vikings, a revenge game. Case Keenum and Diggs versus the Vikings, week 10.
That's fantastic. The timing of that's amazing, right?
Yeah,
I mean, the first, time all week that Keenum's going to start, and it happens to be against his old team, and he and Diggs go back. That's fantastic.
that would be cool.
All,
So
all great.
I think that's gonna happen. I think that's gonna happen.
Yeah. We're going to be seeing the highlight of that, that catch against the Saints, the miracle in Minnesota or
Yep,
Minneapolis, whatever they
yep,
call it. We're going to
yep.
be seeing that all week. So on the other side of the ball, look, Justin didn't have a bad game. He put up 97.9 points. The aforementioned Geno Smith did throw for 275 and 2 touchdowns, putting up 20 fantasy points. Dameon Pierce has got to have Justin wishing that this was a keeper league, man, because this kid looks awesome at running back.
Oh yeah, he's the real deal. He's I think I texted some people and just like it's like watching a video. It's like watching Madden. He just takes off and goes, and cuts and goes. He's so fast. His
Yeah.
jump cuts are beautiful.
It'll be interesting to see if he hits the infamous rookie wall. I feel like a lot of teams are approaching their rookie running backs, like guys like Pacheco, and there's a couple other guys who I'm failing to think of at the moment, who you feel like teams have been sort of slowly bringing along all season, just sort of putting him in like a committee running back situation. But Dameon Pierce has been the guy since day one.
Yes. Yeah, they knew it. Lovey Smith says that he's the RB1. We're gonna
Yeah,
run him.
yeah, absolutely. So he had 139 yards for Justin. Didn't get in the end zone, but so he did produce 13.9 points. Deion Jackson, I think this kid's got a lot of juice, but man, the Patriots shut that entire offense right down. Uh, so there was really nothing for him there. Amon-Ra St. Brown is probably still hurting. He didn't have a very big game. It was a low-scoring game overall, which I think surprised a lot of people. But the sun god didn't do a whole lot.
No, that Green Bay game was ugly.
It was ugly.
Yeah, it was looked like a Senior Bowl or when the old timers went out there or something. But the Green
Yeah,
Bay's defense didn't, or excuse me, the Lions defense got, and Rogers was throwing. He threw bad balls. I think he said
sure.
that on the McAfee show. So he took some blame, but the Lions got the
Interesting,
win.
you know. We'll get into more of that when we talk about Kurt's game because he started him.
Okay,
But yeah, I think there's some interesting stuff to cover with Rogers. It's an interesting situation going on over there, man.
man.
Um, but as far as Justin goes, Nuke Hopkins did give him a touchdown to bring him up to 11.6. Big game for Dallas Goddard, though. Dallas Goddard looked fantastic.
Yeah, I love Dallas this year. He's comfortable. He's the lone guy there now that Zach Ertz is gone, and Hertz feels comfortable dumping the ball to him when he needs to. He's always
Yeah,
there to score a touchdown.
he feels like the safety valve, like a McCaffrey or even like a Mark Andrews, guys that like the quarterback's gonna do his progression, he's gonna do his checkdowns, but he knows that this guy's gonna be able to get open at some point, you
Yeah,
know. And he loves AJ Brown, but Goddard's always really close to the amount of close to or leading in targets. It
yeah,
seems like he really likes Goddard.
yeah. He's not forgotten, that's for sure.
Yeah. Um, Big day for Kenyon Drake on Justin's bench. It wasn't going to make a difference, obviously, when you lose by 60. But nonetheless, it probably doesn't take the sting too much out of seeing him go for 93 yards and 2 touchdowns on Monday Night Football.
Yeah, man. I don't know. When you got Deion Jackson, I thought Deion would play a lot better. Obviously, got their coach fired because they played like shit, and I just I feel also bad for him because he has Jonathan Taylor. I don't know what Jeff Saturday's got planned for Jonathan Taylor, or
We should have addressed this at the top of the
yeah,
show, man, because you strike again, Mike D.
yeah,
You've been not calling for the head. It certainly hasn't been anything vicious on your part, but you've certainly been pointing out week after week here that Frank Reich has got to be on thin ice, as Grant was also pointing out last
yeah,
week. So I suppose this wasn't much of a surprise for you, but you had to be surprised, like the rest of the football world was, with the naming of Jeff Saturday as the new head coach.
let's go with Jeff Saturday. Nobody has called plays on that staff. Apparently, the quarterbacks coach, who came into the NFL, I think in 2018, is going to call plays for the Colts. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah,
I mean, you throw out the playbook and just say, "All right." I imagine Jeff Saturday is just going to be one of those what he did when he was a center. I mean, not too many centers become very popular or well known, and Jeff Saturday is one of those guys. He is a leadership guy,
yeah,
so he can probably demand that in that building. I think a couple talking heads said in that building, people will listen to him. So we'll see. I mean, give it a couple games, and it could be it's going to be really fun to watch. Too bad
it's
Hard
going to be fun
Knocks
to watch.
wasn't there last year. That would have been awesome.
You talk about in that building. I mean, let's talk about famous Indianapolis Colts. It's the list is Peyton Manning and Jeff Saturday.
Yep.
Reggie Wayne. And Reggie Wayne, I think, is on the staff right now. So a lot of people have talked about him being, if having an axe to grind if he
Yeah.
did. I did hear one person make the case. I forget who it was on television about the biggest problem with the Colts right now is the offensive line. They've got what's supposed to be this really good offensive line that's so talented, but they're not getting it done. So maybe, look, this season's a wash. They're not going
Yeah.
to make the playoffs no matter who they bring in to coach.
Yep.
So, maybe Saturday comes in there and works on culture or whatever, and they, evaluate and find, their real next head coach by the end of the season. And
Yeah.
that's interesting to me, but I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, that explains Jonathan Taylor's off year if they're not, making some holes for him to get through
Yeah,
because he's not
yeah.
putting up the numbers.
I'm gonna miss Saturday on the morning shows though, on
Oh
Get Up
yeah,
or First Take, wherever he may be. He was great, man. He was a great personality, and I'm sure they're gonna have a lot of fun, questioning his decisions going forward and all that. It'll make for some good television. But but yeah, a very, very interesting move to say the least.
yeah. It would be good theater to watch on Sundays. The Indianapolis
Yeah.
Colts.
So after the matchup between you and Justin, Mike D's March of the Penguins, a nod to Jalen Waddle, no doubt, goes to 5-4, while Justin falls to 2-7. Uh, Moving on from there, let's go next to our closest game of the week, and that'll be between Country Roads Take Mahomes and Team Jones. Treasurer Kleppinger fell 6 points short of the victory this week as Team Jones was able to get the victory, paced in large part by two alphas for sure in fantasy football, Derrick Henry and Tyreek Hill.
Oh man, yeah. Tyreek Hill's a monster.
Monster. He's an absolute monster. He's
Yeah,
leading the league in yards. He's for receivers at least. He is being talked about as an MVP from the wide receiver position. So it's just unbelievable what he's doing there.
as you should be. He's the Dolphins got themselves a good team put together, and Tua is turns out to be a legitimate quarterback with weapons. That's all you need.
And he's got the weapons, man. And I say this as someone who rosters him on a weekly basis. Like, I just want to see him get the ball in the hands of Waddle and Tyreek and let them do the rest, man. And he's good at doing that so far.
Yeah,
He's high on all his throws. We can talk about Tua later
yeah,
when we talk about my game, but he's just high on all his throws, but he gets it to them, they
yeah.
get it.
And then Hill takes off, and then to have a Hill Henry combination is pretty good
The
for
Henry
team.
Hill,
Yeah,
if you will.
uh, yeah. Henry Hill,
And
Henry
that
Hill
is, it's a
knocks.
very good combination. I don't remember, but looking at his roster, I gotta think those were maybe his. Well, Fournette may have been his second round pick, but I got it.
Okay,
Maybe Tyreek was his third round pick. I'm not exactly sure. Um, but yeah, King Henry continues to march on. A lot of people say that he can't keep doing this. He can't keep carrying this workload every season. But he is currently the running back two in the Laemmle League. He chipped in 115 yards and two touchdowns this week for Team Jones.
yeah, he's a workhorse. He's not. I mean, just take him until he's not in the league anymore. Till you know that he's not going to do it, because you can't just keep questioning. At least in redraft leagues, take him till he's going to win you stuff.
He is. He is a workhorse. There's not a lot of guys you can say that's just not the trend in the NFL right now. The trend in the NFL for running backs is a committee. It's like split it between two or three guys. But
Yep.
you got guys like Derrick Henry and Saquon. There's just a handful of them out there. Aaron Jones, not so much with Dylan anymore, but McCaffrey a little bit, certainly probably less now that he's in San Francisco, but 100% in
Yeah.
Carolina. um, Workhorse guys that are just going to get fed the ball. Um, a guy like Mixon's got the talent for it, but they've got such a deep receiving core
Yeah.
that, and he's one of those third down guys. It's another thing that's kind of rare in the NFL, right? A guy who plays all three downs. Usually at third down you get the pass catching specialist to come in, but you know, and Henry's not even one of those guys. Henry comes out on third down, but
Yeah. No.
he gets so much volume on first and second down that it doesn't matter.
No, you saw that in the loss where he didn't play for the last 4 minutes.
Right.
You
Yeah, they're
sat there
like
and
Hilliard.
watched. Yeah.
Hilliard catches a lot of passers out of the backfield, so they like him on third down and when they're trailing, I suppose. But they're still committed to the run that even when they are trailing, they're still gonna feed Henry.
Yeah. It's different, I think, when you don't have AJ Brown there anymore. So you got just Henry.
Yeah.
And Willis looked a little not ready to throw the ball, but uh I think
Yeah.
Collinsworth kept saying, do the RPOs, do the misdirections when you have Malik Willis at your service for a few games and can run the ball. Probably, not as good as Henry, but he can run the ball. But
Yeah, he's something that you've got to keep an eye on. He's a big dude, man. Wow, I've
Yeah,
got him rostered in another league, and I was very excited about giving him a start in the last couple of weeks.
yeah,
But yeah, they are definitely the Derrick Henry show. There's no doubt about that. In Green Bay, the Aaron Rodgers show, Mike D, is not going so well, although it is fun to watch. Uh, if you're not a fan of the Packers, I suppose that is.
yeah,
291 yards, a touchdown, three interceptions. This is Aaron Rodgers. He doesn't throw interceptions, and he certainly doesn't throw interceptions in the red zone, but that's what he was doing against the worst defense in the league.
yeah. Nobody was playing well for them. Aaron Jones wasn't. Rodgers wasn't. I think Dubs went down, and then so they had another rookie. I think Torrey had to replace him. So you can just imagine just not running routes the right way and just being a 39-year-old quarterback trying to throw the ball to someone, and they're not, he's throwing picks. But I believe during the game, some I can't remember who it was, did blame Rodgers. Like that was a bad throw. He
Mm-hmm.
shouldn't have thrown that ball. But
Well, the one where he tried to go to Bakhtiari and he had
yes,
Bakhtiari wide open. I mean, just put a little air on it, and the kid Hutchinson comes in out of nowhere and picks it off. Like, I mean, that's just 100% on Rodgers. You know,
yeah,
it's
we'll see what Green Bay is going to do going forward. It'll
yeah,
be
it's
interesting.
interesting, and I think they're at the end of the season they're going to have to make a decision on Jordan Love too. They're going to have to either pay him. I think his rookie contract expires. They're going to have to either pay him or do something else with him. So it's getting interesting over there in Green Bay. No doubt about that. Um, the treasurer did her best to make this game interesting, but it was unsuccessful. She was unsuccessful in the attempt. Uh, Namesake for the team, Patrick Mahomes led the way as he often does with 34 big points for Caitlin. Mahomes can't be stopped, Mike D. Tyreek Hill or not, he pours in 446 yards in this one.
Yeah, he's going to get the ball to Juju Smith Schuster. He's going to get the ball to now Kadarius Tooney. Now Nicole. I always say in one of my fantasy leagues, I have him as Nicole Hardman as a nickname for him.
Yeah,
Nicole Hardman. So he has lots of weapons. It's you know, it's spreading the ball around, and,
we'll
and
see.
it's taken. I think Juju Smith Schuster's comfortable now. He's can see the ball. He's getting the leading receiver, non tight end receiver. He's the number one guy. So this is going to be fine tuned offense late in the season.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Yeah, Juju's coming on. I feel like he's really sort of becoming. Kelsey will always be the number one, but it feels like he's becoming that guy as far as the wide receivers go for Patrick.
Yeah, and in the I think they were saying that he's kind of mimicking Kelsey. Just you know, go 7 yards, cut, catch the ball, and go. You don't
Yeah,
have to run 50 yards down the field for him to throw it to make something happen.
yeah. Uh, the rest of Caitlin's squad has not been as consistent. A great example of that is Alvin Kamara. This week, he only went for 7.7 fantasy points, whereas the previous week, he poured in 38. 9 rushes for 30 yards, 3 catches for 32 yards. It's been a tough year for Kamara. I feel like every season, he's decent for most of the year, and he's got one or two, maybe three just huge games, which over the course of the entire season land him in the top 10. But from a week to week basis, it can be tough to rely on him.
Yeah, and he ran up against a Baltimore defense that came together with the new acquisition from the Bears of Roquan Smith. He
That's
was out
scary.
there making tackles, so that I
Yeah.
think they were pumped up and showing the league like, "Hey, we're here. We're the
Yeah,
Ravens
that's a
again."
scary acquisition. The Ravens look tough. No
Yeah,
doubt about that. Um, Josh Palmer was a nice fill-in for the Chargers this week with Keenan Allen still out, which it seems like he just always will be, and Mike Williams out. Palmer filled in to the tune of 8 receptions for 106 yards.
Yep.
I'm sure you were paying close attention to that, Mike D. Being a Charger fan yourself, how did Palmer look to you?
Man, that was he came through. It was tough. I thought the Falcons were gonna win.
Yeah,
And yeah, Palmer made some really big catches for that team. And you're right, Allen has said publicly, I'm not gonna play until I'm 100%. So that could
I
be a
don't think
little
he likes
while.
that coach very much, man. He was tweeting live during the game that one
Yeah.
time, questioning the play calls and everything.
I
You
agree.
know,
I'm on the Allen ship now, so I don't think Staley's going to last past this year into the season firing if uh yeah, his decision making's cost him some games.
yeah.
So but Palmer, I mean, coming out of nowhere, that's a good pickup.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of talent, though. I mean, whether it's Everett or Palmer, there's a lot of guys who can catch passes. You just wonder what that team would look like if Herbert doesn't hurt his ribs right away in the very beginning of the season, and then
Yeah.
Allen doesn't go out, and now Williams is out. It's just it's a tough situation over there. You wonder if, everyone will sort of get healthy in the next couple of weeks and they'll go on a run. Um, but they're going to need to if they're going to
Yeah.
save that coach's job, probably.
Gonna be tough to make the playoffs there.
And they did have this week the dreaded East Coast game for the West Coast team, so the
Yeah.
body clock is all off and everything. But more importantly than their personal body clocks, they were screwing over the rest of us. The late window this week was garbage.
Yeah,
It
two
was just
games.
it was 2 games. It was
Yeah.
it was the Niner game and the Seahawks game, I think.
Yeah.
Uh, and it was tough, man. I felt bad for Scott Hansen on the red
Yeah.
zone. He didn't really know what to do with all that airtime.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. He had a lot to fill. That's funny.
So Seattle gives Caitlin another 10 points, but there wasn't a lot to talk about. You mentioned Romeo Dobbs going out earlier. She had him in the flex. That definitely hurt. Uh, Evan Engram gave her 1 catch for 8 yards. It was a tough week for the treasurer.
Yeah. It's yeah, because you can't really do anything. You didn't have to be anybody on your bench. You made the right moves. You put the right people in, and you
Yeah,
see
she
what
did.
see what happens. And I would expect a little more out of DK, but again, those Arizona Seattle games are all over the place. And then the Atlanta game, Falcons seem to be the second half. They play shitty, and then they come back in the second half, and they're like, oh, they could win this game.
They do that often, don't they? Yeah.
Yeah, and they're in. I think they're still tied with in first place with
They
the
are.
with the
That's
Panthers.
yeah, with Tampa Bay or so. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
an insane division. There's always every season there's a division like that. Oftentimes it's the NFC East,
yeah,
and someone's limping across the finish line to win it. But it appears this season to be the South, the
yeah.
NFC South.
That's true. Yeah, so all the right moves there, and what can you do? You ran into Tyreek Hill and Derrick Henry.
Yep, and that was basically the story of the game. Team Jones gets the victory, improves his mark on the season up to 4-5, bringing Caitlin down to 4-5, and a big win for Team Jones, keeping him alive. From there, let's head over to let's keep it in the Kleppinger family. Christy, Team CT versus Team Fan. Christy got the big win this week, 108 to 93, keeping her in sole possession of second place. Christy was led this week by the bounce back effort from Davante Adams. After the very poor performance the previous week, we had to see this coming, didn't we, Mike D?
Yeah. Oh yeah. The Raiders, the Raiders, the Raiders.
That is the tune that Christy is singing this season for sure. Davante Adams has certainly been fantastic for her. He's the wide receiver 6 this last week, 17 targets. You think maybe there was some talk during the week at Raiders practice about getting the ball to Devontae.
Yeah, I
17
think so.
targets.
You got to get the ball to that guy, and you're still lost. But there's another coach I think that's probably not going to make it. But yeah, I mean, Devontae goes off, and another it's Jacobs, Adams, Carlson,
Yep.
even former Raider Zay Jones on there.
Yeah, yeah. Jacobs came back to earth a little bit these last couple of weeks as he was just going bananas for a few weeks in a row there. Uh,
Yeah,
67 yards. I don't think they were trailing during a lot of the game. I think
uh,
Jacksonville sort of won it towards the end, as I recall.
yeah,
But it just wasn't the day for Josh Jacobs, I suppose.
yeah. And I feel like the game plan might have changed to throw the ball to Devontae, and we'll see what happens. But
Yeah. Again, let's get the ball to Devontae this week, please. That seemed to be the theme. On the other side of the ball in that particular game, Trevor Lawrence gave Chrissy 16.7. Lawrence looked real exciting in the first few games of the week. It looked like it might, or of the year, it looked like it might be kind of a breakout year for him, if not in real football, at least in fantasy football, which
yeah,
is often a precursor to a breakout in real football. But it hasn't really materialized for him in the last few weeks.
no, and I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. I'm going to say he redshirted last year, and this year's his first year of really
Okay.
playing NFL football with a
You think
real
that's basically
NFL
because of
coach.
Peterson? You think he redshirted last year because of the circus that was what's his name, the college coach?
Oh yeah, he's so bad I forgot his name already. Yeah, he was just
Urban Meyer.
yeah, Urban Meyer. You
There
can't
it
he didn't learn anything.
is.
There's no way he learned anything that first year. And you can already tell, like even probably through the training camp, got him through the first 3 games where he's looking sharp. And now, now defenses are saying, "Oh, hey, Trevor Lawrence is figuring some stuff out. Let's do some different schemes." So
Yeah.
they're probably just gonna. He's probably gonna have an up and down year, and then I think next year he'll be just fine.
Yeah, that's interesting. It'll be something to watch to see if he's a breakout guy next season or not. Um, don't know how much help he'll give Christie down the stretch here. She's also got Tom Brady. I suppose it'll be a week to week, unless something changes for her through the waiver wire or a trade. I suppose it'll be a week to week decision between the goat and the kid
Yeah,
Spicoli. He
she's got
looks like
to.
Spicoli. Tell me he doesn't look like Spicoli.
He does look like Spicoli.
Every time something goes bad for the Jags, I just picture him going like, "Oh man," you know.
You got a you got a team name there to change from Team CT to Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Fast times at Trevor High. For it looked like Kyle Pitts might be sort of rounding into form the last couple weeks. Before last week, he had 80 yards and a touchdown the previous week. The week
Yeah,
before that was another touchdown game. But this week, 7 targets, only resulting in 2 catches for 27 yards.
yeah.
The struggle that is Kyle Pitts is real, Mike D.
Arthur Smith forgot that he had Kyle Pitts again this week and doesn't get him the ball. I have a in one of my other leagues, this guy has Kyle Pitts and he won't trade him, and his stock is just not. That's just the name now. I don't even think he's in the top top 10 tight ends right now.
He's not. I just looked at he's 18. He's the
Yeah,
number 18 tight end in the Laemmle League. He was a third, I think he was a third round pick of let me look it up. He was drafted 28th.
yeah,
He was drafted in the third round by Christie. And he is the number 18 tight end.
yeah,
Uh and Christie's not alone. Look, I went with Andrews, but if I didn't, I would have targeted Pitts.
yeah.
I was very excited about him coming into this season, as a lot of people were. I don't know what's going on here.
No, either do I. I don't know if it's the coaching or the style of Mariota, whether he's just not a. But you think you just would run plays for Pitts. You don't have really, besides London, you don't really have that other receiver.
And they're not throwing to him either. I mean, they're really a run first team with Algiers and Patterson and Mariota when he does it. But
I mean, if
uh,
Andy Reid can throw, I mean, if Travis Kelsey, the ball's going to Travis Kelsey.
yeah,
He's gonna catch it. The
yeah,
defense knows it.
but he
So
does, yeah, but he does it anyway, right?
yeah,
And maybe that's Patrick Mahomes versus
yeah.
Marcus Mariota, but it's befuddling.
I
I
would I'd make
it
him the
really is.
focal point of my offense, and I guess they don't
I
want
would
to.
force it to him. I'd give it
Yeah,
to him on jet sweeps. I mean, the guy's a freak. He's an
yeah,
unbelievable athlete. You just
yeah.
I don't even roster him in any of my leagues, and I'm
No,
frustrated about it. You know,
yeah. I
I have
hope he doesn't
no,
get lost in the system of the NFL, where he's just was once a name and then nothing.
well, and you mentioned name. I think for the first maybe 4 or 5 weeks into the season, you had the opportunity to still trade him because people had such high expectations
Yeah,
for him that even though he didn't start off well, it was like, okay, people figured he's gonna figure this out.
yeah,
But I think that time is come and gone.
yeah,
I wouldn't give Chris. I mean, hypothetically, I don't need a tight end, but if I did, I wouldn't want any part of him.
yeah. No, exactly. That guy in the other league was trying to trade. I was like, no, he's not really value. I don't. You don't have any value there with him.
Yeah. So we'll see. Christy's also got Zach Ertz, who from her bench this week put up 5 catches for 40 yards and a touchdown. So, he is so far. Zach Ertz is the number 3 tight end in our league.
Yeah,
I had no idea. You could have put a gun to my head, and I wouldn't have been able to tell you that Zach Ertz was the number 3 tight end in the Laemmle League.
I love Zach Ertz. He just shows up. He just plays. It was him and Goddard for a long
Right.
time in Philadelphia. So, uh,
That's
we
right. That's right.
and it was always like who's gonna go where and who's gonna stay. And Ertz, they ended up trading Ertz, and they both play well, Goddard and Ertz. So,
Yeah. Look, we know what Ertz can do. When Wentz was there, Ertz was a target hog. I mean, that guy was getting double-digit targets every week.
yeah,
I remember when he got traded to Arizona, I thought, he was going to even go to another level because of Kyler, obviously. But and like I said, he is the number 3 guy in the league. So things aren't working out for Pitts really, for Christy, but it's hard to feel too bad for her. She's got a really good option on her bench in
yeah,
the tight end position. Um, Speaking of having a good a good option from the tight end position, Chris over at Team Fan has got to be feeling pretty good about this trade that sent TJ Hawkinson to Minnesota, because he is going to get a lot of targets in Minnesota. He already got 9, caught all 9 of them for 70 yards in his first game. He got there during the week, and
yeah.
he was already incorporated into this offense.
He's just a football player.
He
So yeah,
is.
yeah,
And Minnesota, they're winning. They're not putting up astronomical numbers, but they seem to know how to game plan. They seem to know how to get their receivers open.
yeah. I think he's going to do great there, and that helps out Cousins. It helps out Jefferson. Just another proven weapon for them to throw the ball to.
Yeah. I mean, we've seen what he can do. We saw him earlier in the season when he was with Detroit have a game where he caught eight passes for 179
Yeah,
yards. And obviously Justin Jefferson is the alpha dog in that receiving tree, but you know, who's the number 2 pass catcher over there? Is it Thielen anymore? I'm not sure it
no,
is.
no, definitely not. I
Right?
think
Is
it's
it
Hawkinson.
Osborne? I,
No, I would say it would be Hawkinson now.
it's going to be Hawk.
Yeah,
So that could be a big boost for him going forward. Um, helped Chris this week to the tune of 11.5 fantasy points. He got 15 from Miles Sanders, who hurt me bad a couple years ago, and I
yeah,
still haven't forgiven him for. But he's having a fantastic season. Currently, the running back 15.
Yeah, I love Miles. I have him in two other leagues. Took him for the first time this year, taking the flyer of, I think we talked about this before, of the people that had him in these dynasty leagues, let him go,
Yeah.
free to blossom this year. And even he would go on TV and say, "Yeah, don't draft me. I'm not going to score any touchdowns," because he did not score a touchdown last season. Though he's down, don't draft me. I'm not going to score any touchdowns this year.
No, he's been great this year. I mean, he's getting fed the ball. He doesn't catch a lot of passes out of the backfield, but it's always 15, 18, 17, 27. This past week, another 17 carries. So, they for all that Jalen Hurts can do, and we talk about guys like Goddard and AJ Brown, this team wants to run the ball, and Miles Sanders is their number one guy.
Yeah, and I'm glad that they made him the number one guy. As that they were trying to do a committee of Gaines and Scott, and then they traded for a Trey Sermon off the waiver wire from San
That's right,
Francisco.
Trey Sermon.
Yeah,
Right.
he's my Geno Smith. I have Trey Sermon in two dynasty leagues, and I'm not going to let him go. I'm going to wait 9 years, and then he'll be great, just like Geno.
I love it. I love it. So not the like the quick ascension to greatness like say a Rashad Penny,
Yeah,
but more like a Geno Smith. Gotcha.
yeah, no,
So, moving forward for Team Fan this week, he got 15.2 from Tyler Lockett, who caught 5 for 67 and a touchdown. Lockett has certainly seen he's seen a boon, actually. He's been better this season than he has been the previous few campaigns under Russell Wilson. He's currently the wide receiver 10.
yeah. I think he's having a lot of fun this year. A lot of loving Geno, loving being in Seattle, the older guy. With we got Walker, a rookie. You have
Yeah. When you talk about DK, obviously, who gets
yeah,
a lot of publicity,
yeah,
but I mean, it's Tyler's getting all the targets. I mean, 11, 11, 8, 6, 8, 8. I mean, he just gets fed.
yeah. I like Tyler Lockett. That's why I'm wearing my. I'll have my Chargers hat on if they win. I'll be wearing my Seahawks hat for the next few.
Well, since we're talking about apparel, I am wearing my Pig T-shirt this week.
Ah,
Nicolas Cage's film Pig. Uh,
nice.
I don't always rock the film shirt as you were so good at doing because it's often cold in my apartment.
Yes, and that's why I have a jacket on, and I need to find a movie jacket or a movie
Yeah, that's
sweater.
not as easy to do. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um, on his bench, Garrett Wilson looks really good. Chris has Garrett Wilson on his bench. There seems to be a connection. Maybe it's the last name, but Zach Wilson certainly
Wilson.
seems to like Garrett and seems to be targeting him quite a bit. So he'll be an interesting player going forward, I feel like.
Yeah, Wilson to Wilson. They seem to have some chemistry going with the Buffalo game. They seem could boost their confidence and boost Wilson's confidence. Both Wilsons.
Yep. So, Chris, this is the second time I've done it. I apologize, Puppingers. Christy gets the victory this week, vaulting her up to 6-3, while Chris falls with his loss down to 3-6. Christy is the sole occupant of the second place in the Laemmle League, and we'll get to the standings at the end of the show. But she is the number 2 spot right now.
Number 2.
So let's go. Let's go to my game versus Parker. Very high scoring matchup between my Sanford and Stevenson team versus his team Parker Pizza Slice. Let me take a moment here, Mike D, and I'm not tooting the horn. I'm not bragging or anything, but I just want to point out, because I have preached in the Laemmle League for years that you don't necessarily need to draft a quarterback. I did not. I'm a streaming quarterback kind of guy this season. Yet in the last 2 weeks, my quarterbacks have bested Josh Allen and now Jalen Hurts in consecutive weeks.
Yep.
And that quarterback who was undrafted in this league that I got off of the waiver wire is Tua Tagovailoa.
Suicide Squad. Love Tua.
Suicide Squad. Oh,
Love
that's
Tua.
fantastic. I wish you had told me that
uh,
in private so I could
yeah.
have stolen it. I can't take it now because it's obviously yours and not mine,
No.
but that's a fantastic name.
I stole it from the internet. I have Tua in a dynasty league, and one of my teams was called last year called the Suicide Squad. But
All right. I like it.
yeah, no, and as you should be in redraft league, one QB. If you're not doing a super flex two quarterback league, just get next man up. You shouldn't carry. Well, some people carry two, but you really you only need one because you can use that roster spot for
Yep.
another receiver or anything else. But
So
yeah,
much strategy around the position, no doubt. But I just like I said, it's not that I was totally avoiding them this year. There were a couple of quarterbacks I was targeting. They just got
mhm,
taken before I was ready to take them,
yeah,
which at one point just sort of led me to stream them, which I'm okay with. But now here I am, 9 weeks into the season, and I've got myself a quarterback controversy because Tua's balling out, but Justin Fields is maturing into he's the number 7 quarterback in the league right now.
yeah. Fields, the real deal. They're calling him. He's getting more comfortable. Look out, league.
Yeah. I mean, he only threw for 123 yards, but he led the league in rushing this week. He
Yeah,
went
he's
for
dangerous.
178 yards on the ground.
Yeah, he's like I would say he's a little bit better than a Kyler Murray. Not as good as Lamar Jackson, not as good as Hurts, but right up there.
He's in that conversation for sure. And those guys are always going to have so much more value when it comes to fantasy football.
Yeah,
That sort of make up for maybe their deficiencies in the passing game. I mean, look, Tua's throwing for 302 yards. He's slinging it all over the field and throwing touchdowns, but he's not putting up the same amount of points as
no,
Justin Fields because he's not running.
yeah. He knows he can't run like the other guys, and it's funny watching the Manning cast. You're talking about that. Both Peyton and Eli were like, we didn't have that option of running. We could just throw the ball,
Right.
so we
Yeah.
couldn't do it.
And speaking of the Manning cast, I got to tell you, man, there's a lot of dead air on that show, man.
Yeah,
It's fun to hear their insights sometimes, but it's also like you sort of appreciate what professionals do during a broadcast when you
yeah,
watch, Peyton and Eli try to anchor the show, and like Luke Bryant is talking about like, how drunk he gets, and it's like, what are we doing here,
yeah. And I think Peyton gets way into the game,
He
and I
does,
think he
yeah.
forgets
Yeah.
and Eli will call him out. He's like, you know, oh yeah, because they came back from commercial a little late, and Peyton threw him under the bus, and or Eli threw him under the bus. He's like, I was trying not to throw the camera guys under the bus.
Yeah, yeah. No, they're fun, but it's just
Yeah,
sometimes, like you said, Peyton's just sort of leaning in and like he's calling it audible. He's got that sort of Romo kind of quality where
yeah,
you can predict what's about to happen.
yeah.
Yeah,
Competitive guys that watch when you watch it in any sport, they're always just jacked up way into the game, even though they're not playing it or they're
yeah.
yelling at it. You could tell there things are going on in his head. And he also didn't give up. Kirk Cousins was I saw Kurt drilling him with what would you do on cover zero? And then I think Peyton said I don't think the NFC West would or East would like me to give you answers on what I did in coverage
I'm
zero because I think he consults with the Broncos
sure he does.
as like Jeff Saturday consulted with the Colts.
Right.
So
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if he ever wanted to, I'm sure Peyton could be hired by any
yeah,
number of teams in the league with coaching vacancies. But
yeah,
I think he's got a little brighter future
no,
even than an NFL head coach ahead of him.
Omaha,
Um, Making my past bright this past week was not only Tua, but also the bottom of my roster, with the New England defense as well as the New England kicker, Nick Foles.
Dang.
Both pickups that very week off the waiver wire. The New England defense, I mean, look, anytime Bill Belichick is facing a rookie quarterback, it's like dangling raw meat in front of a tiger.
Yeah.
And Sam Ellinger was the raw meat this week, and the tiger ate to the tune of an interception, a touchdown, only 3 points against, and a blocked field goal.
Dang.
So
26.
26 big points for my defense. The high scoring player on my entire roster, vaulting New England all the way up to the #1 defense in the entire league.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and Nick Folk, you know what? Let me take this moment to once again bitch about kickers, because this is a week that I benefited from the randomness of the kickers. Nick Folk scoring 17 points. It's just silly. I mean, kickers have no business on our rosters, Mike D.
Right.
It's totally random, totally silly. Tyler Bass is a fantastic kicker on a better offensive team, but it just so happens that this week the game script worked in the favor of Nick Foles and he prevailed. It's just silly. And I feel comfortable saying that because it didn't help me I mean, it did help me. It didn't hurt me. If it had hurt me, it would look like I'm complaining.
Yeah.
But I'm being objective here, man. It's just silly.
Yep. I agree. Like I said, this league and another league are the only two teams, or only two leagues that have kickers.
Yeah.
The rest don't. And I even tried to pick up kickers just to be funny in those other leagues, and that won't allow me to pick up a kicker.
I
Just
just today, as a matter of fact, with Nick Folk going on bye, I dropped him and picked up Brandon McManus for
there
the
you go.
sole purpose of using him to create team names. That's
There,
it. I
there you
don't
go.
I don't care who he's playing against. I don't care what his rank on the season is. It doesn't matter. He's a kicker.
I like it. I can't wait. I can't wait for the name.
Oh yeah, I'm looking forward. It's going to be fun. Hopefully, I'll keep him for a couple of weeks. Hopefully, he'll do well enough that I can keep him a couple of weeks
I know.
and keep pulling off that name. On the other side of the ball, though, look, good game for Parker, man. You score 112 points. As I say a lot, you're going to win a lot of games in the Laemmle League. Jalen Hurts, you know, sometimes the Philly's so good that there's going to be games where Jalen doesn't have to have a big game. He can just put it on cruise control. 243 and 2 touchdowns. Hey, gave him 20 points. You're not going to be pissed about that, but it's not going to single-handedly win you a week.
No, not at all. But you're right. 20, 25, 22, 17. He's killing it.
He is. He's absolutely killing it. That's why he's the #5 quarterback in the. And again, like they've just been so comfortable in so many of their games. They haven't even had a lot of close games this season yet. That it's almost like he hasn't been needed to do like what Lamar has to do oftentimes, you know, or what Patrick Mahomes has to do
Yeah.
oftentimes. Really, you know, he just with that defense and the running game, it's just a lot of ways Philly can beat you.
Yeah. They're comfortable with each other. They're in a groove. I think I saw Chris Long, Howie Long's son, who played for the Eagles and won a Super
Yeah,
Bowl with the Eagles,
yeah.
said that that clubhouse is very similar to theirs. They're loose, they're having fun, they're joking around, but when it's time to play the game, they play the game, and they're playing it the right way, and they're playing it the right way now.
No doubt. No doubt about it. Travis Etienne is playing the right way in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
James Robinson is gone, and he is absolutely the man in Jacksonville right now. Last week he went for 23. This previous week he went for 25. I mean, big fantasy games from this kid.
Yeah, he's the guy. He's the man. And what do you got to lose? My only reservation would be the Jaguars record. I don't know if they're going to maybe slow down during our playoffs or not, but I guess that's a risk you're going to want to have to take. But I would, I keep putting them out there until you have to come up against that situation.
Yeah, that's often a decision that needs to be made when you've got a team that's either, you know, playing incredibly well and they're resting their guys, or a team that's just playing really bad and maybe they're, auditioning some other guys to see what they've got. When it comes down to the fantasy playoff time, you want that team. You want guys on teams that are sort of in the middle of the pack that are fighting for their playoff lives and really putting their foot down on the pedal. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see if Jacksonville is one of those teams or not.
Yeah, you got Jacksonville. You got a few of those teams that are probably want to keep their assets healthy and try to see what they have on the bench. But I think ETN, I think he should be good.
Well, you mentioned earlier that Travis, this sort of being a rookie season for Trevor Lawrence because the Urban Meyer year was sort of a wash. I mean, ETN missed his entire rookie year, so
Yeah,
this really is his rookie year. So, it might be real interesting to see what ETN and Lawrence are able to do together next season in the league.
yeah, no, yeah. They're and they're already adding pieces for next year by adding Calvin Ridley Jr. So they're
Yeah, they're
already
certainly
they're
looking to the
prepping for
future.
next year.
No doubt about it. Someone who's not looking to the future, who is ready right now, is Cooper Kupp, the unstoppable Cooper Kupp, who is the wide receiver number 2. He caught 8 passes for 127 yards and a touchdown this week, Mike D.
The only guy on the team.
He really is. He really was the entire offense for the team. I mean, they only put up 13 points in the entire game. I don't know what the passing yardage was like, but I know Higbee didn't do anything, and Tyler Higbee is usually like the number 2 guy over there. It's certainly
No,
not Allen Robinson. Uh, and Coop went for one. It's crazy. Even in these games where they don't put up points and they don't put up yardage, he's Teflon.
yeah,
It can't be stopped.
yeah. He's continuing from last season. Too bad the team hasn't continued on that trend, but Cooper is.
No Super Bowl hangover for Coop,
Yeah,
and it's almost, again, you almost wonder why teams just don't double team him and say, like, okay, this guy's not going to beat us. Anyone else can, but this guy's not going to beat him. Maybe they are, and he's just beating it. I don't know. I don't watch every Rams game, but it's just, you talked about it earlier with Kelsey. Everyone in the building knows where the ball is going, and no one can do anything to stop it.
nope, not at all. We
Uh, uh, the only person that was able to stop Gabe Davis last week was Gabe Davis.
yeah,
Josh Allen put what was measured as 69 yards in the air, the longest pass in the NFL this season, put it right in his breadbasket, and it dropped right through the often very reliable Gabe Davis's hands.
yeah, just too perfect. Even with a hurt elbow, he just
Yeah,
put it on the arrow right in the target. Bam,
really
yeah,
quite incredible. But Davis did not make the catch. He only made 3 catches, which resulted in, I'm sorry, 2 catches, which resulted in 33 yards. 3 catches went to the tight end, Robert Tonyan, but that only got him 29 yards. I thought Tonyan, might be in for a big year,
yeah,
with Devontae Adams. He seems like a talented, like Kelsey Jr. kind of guy, but
yeah.
hasn't really materialized yet.
No, I think that injury kind of set him back, and I don't know if he's going to be the same or it's going to take him another year to get fully healthy again till next year.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see who his quarterback is next year. It might
Yeah,
not be number 12 the way things
Jordan
were going in
Love.
Green Bay. Um, Speaking of injury, coming off of injury, looking very good this last week was Cordero Patterson.
Yeah,
He found the end zone twice, which made up for only 1 catch for 9 yards, and I think he had 44 yards in the ground. But hey, when you find the end zone twice, you're going to put up some numbers in fantasy
yeah.
football.
He's the original Geno Smith. Uh,
Yes.
yeah, yeah. He's keeping up for what he did last year too. That's pretty awesome.
Taking a glance at Parker's bench, he had a little firepower left there. Michael Carter looks pretty good after the injury to the rookie, the kid whose name is eluding me at the moment right now, that Jets rookie who's out for Brees Hall,
Yeah,
who's out for the season. Michael Carter went for 76 and a touchdown. Tyler Algiers went for 99 yards. Newly acquired running back James Robinson. No faith in the backfield for the Jets, I suppose, from Parker. He's got both of them rostered, but didn't start either of them.
Yeah, that might even be a situation where you use one in your flex and one in your starting as your starting running back.
Yeah. The thought I had with Jamal Williams and DeAndre Swift this past week, it's something I saw years ago in this very league implemented by Lily, who's no longer in the league, but she started Mark Ingram and Alvin Kamara, and they were both ended up as being top 10 running backs for her.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was unconventional but very successful. Um, Michael Pittman, what a fall from grace, man. A lot of people saw Pittman as a top 10 or maybe even top 5 guy coming into this season. And now we're to the point where he can't even crack a starting lineup in the Laemmle League.
No, you got to have a quarterback that can throw you the ball too. So,
Yeah, it's very
damn.
important.
Yeah.
Very important. And he does not have that right now.
Yeah, these Colts are going to be tough to figure out. Any Colts players.
Don't know, man. It's going to be, don't know what they do in the offseason. I mean, it's all these guys. It's one old quarterback after another,
Yeah.
and none of them have sort of fit, and it's like they've got this good team, and they sort of seem to think that if they can just insert the right quarterback, then that's the missing piece, but hasn't worked out that way so far.
Yeah, they got to get that 2023 college quarterback and get him in there for a few years.
Maybe. So this week, I get the victory over Parker, raising my record up to 5-4, equaling me with Parker's record, and he's also 5-4. So that brings us to our final matchup of the week, which is John back-to-back Apted versus Herbert Fully Loaded, team managed by Grant Peterson, of course. Apted gets the victory 116-78. Apted looks good, Mike D. He looks very good.
Unstoppable. He's got the championship trophy profile picture back to back.
He does. He is the defending champion. He's not letting any of us forget about it, and he is surging towards a second title.
You got Kenneth Walker, and I'm
That's
not
third.
sure. I'm not sure if I remember correctly. I'll have to look that up. I don't know if I drafted Walker and then I dropped him, um, which could be that could be in another league, but because I did do that. But now you got Walker, then you got then you got Chubb to add in there. I mean, Justin Jefferson, Lamar Jackson, Travis Kelsey. You're talking like all star lineup.
Just to round back to your point on Walker, it appears that he was drafted 104th by Apted.
Okay,
So
good,
perhaps you're thinking of one of the other
good.
leagues. He was drafted by
Yes.
Apted, dropped by Apted on October 5th, and then added on October 7th. Maybe
Oh,
that was after the Penny injury. I don't know the exact timing of that,
yeah.
but Apted dropped him, and then I said, "Holy shit, I better get him back real quick," and was able to. No one else put in a bid for him, and Kenneth Walker fell to him, but and he has reaped the benefit ever since.
Yeah, I mean,
Uh,
Walker's going to be a stud. He is a stud. He's already
he
doing it.
already is, man. This kid, 109 and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah,
He's already the running back 16.
yeah,
He's the running back 16. He didn't get significant playing time until week 5,
yeah,
really until week 6. Week 5, he had
yeah.
8 carries. Since week 6, his lowest total has been 18, and most of them have been over 20.
And
And he's already the 16th
yeah,
running back in the league.
and I knew it. I knew it all along. I knew he had the moves. And being a Seahawks fan, Penny's always gotten hurt year to year, so I should have
Came on
known.
so strong at the end of last year, and he started
Yeah,
out so great at the beginning of this season. He was a top, like, I don't know, 10 or 15 guy when he got hurt.
yeah. I just can't believe he just can't. It's unfortunate he just can't put together a complete season, stay healthy.
Yeah. So big game from Kenneth Walker the third, as we're getting used to from the Apted lineup. Lamar was, very average, 133 through the air with a touchdown. On the ground, he went for 82 yards. He's always going to give you a little bit more, obviously, rushing. But Apted didn't necessarily need a huge game from him this week. But Lamar went for 17 and a half fantasy points.
Yep, I have Lamar in two other leagues. He's fun to watch. This was um you lose your tight end, you lose your receiver, you have Deshaun Jackson coming in.
Yep.
So you figured he's just gonna, the RPOs fake run, 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 and run.
Yeah.
And they had commanded that game pretty easily.
Yep. And Justin Jefferson had command of the Washington Commanders defensive backs, that's for sure. He went for 7 catches and 115 yards, the number 4 wide receiver in our league.
He's they're figuring out. I knew Kirk Cousins going back to his old stomping grounds where he started the big contract, and
Yeah.
he's I know his teammates wanted to show up for him, and Justin Jefferson just he's awesome. So
He is awesome. No doubt about that. He's consistent every week. You cannot say the same about DJ Moore, unfortunately, for Apted. Only 2 catches for 24 yards from Moore this week after the big explosion for 152 yards the week before.
it's wait, what? Who was it again?
DJ Moore.
Oh yeah, Carolina. I think PJ Walker kind of didn't have his head together, and Baker came in, tossed through 2 TDs.
Right, yeah.
Then PJ still starting again this week. So
Is that what they're saying?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
All right.
And Sam Darnold's ready to go.
Right.
Um, I don't, it's funny because you'd think with Robbie Anderson, the guy we couldn't figure out his name
I know.
the other day.
I was thinking about that during the
Yeah.
week.
Which after I do this other podcast, I'm going to watch Hard Knocks and see what they got going on there tonight. But yeah,
What are we doing anyway? Why are we doing this podcast right now as Hard Knocks is airing? What are we
That's
doing?
right. Well, I'll watch it at midnight when I'm by myself, and I'll smoke and drink a little and
Yep.
get a deep dive into the Hard Knocks.
Oh, oh man, I can't wait. I woke up this morning and it was like one of the first things I did. It was like, oh yeah, Hard Knocks, but I didn't realize that it wasn't airing until tonight. I'm a streamer, so I just figure things are just there, and
Yeah.
it wasn't quite there yet. I cannot wait though,
Yeah,
man.
it will be fun. But you think DJ Moore would like step up, but PJ Walker apparently just didn't have it. So they pulled
No,
him,
not really.
and DJ Moore didn't step up in the second half either. But I mean, come on, it's 21-42. So
Yeah, what are you gonna do, man? When Joe Mixon's scoring a touchdown every time you look up, it's gonna deflate your team's confidence a little bit, probably. Uh, Someone whose confidence is never deflated is Travis Kelce. That's for sure. This was a chippy game between the Titans and the Chiefs, but Kansas City and TK, obviously along with Mahomes, pulled it out. Kelce with 10 catches and 106 yards.
yep, Kelsey's Kelsey. He's always there. So crazy.
Yeah, speaking of the Mannycast, he and his brother were a lot of fun. I think the week before last when they did it.
Yeah. I missed that one. I wish I would I wish I would have watched that because yeah, Kelsey brothers are kind of funny guys.
Yeah, oh, they're the best, man. Jason being the center, you'd think would be the one with the lesser personality than the tight end, but not at all, man. Jason Kelce is every bit as exuberant and flamboyant as his superstar brother is. They are a lot of fun. I think they're sort of positioning themselves to have sort of a Manning like post NFL
Yeah.
career. Like, you can definitely see them teaming up in some fashion in media, whether it's having their own show or being in a broadcast booth together or whatever.
Yeah.
They are something else.
That'd be awesome.
So on the other side of the ball in this matchup, Herbert fully loaded, fantastic name. Grant has been
Yeah.
on point with the team names all season long, and his running back has been on point all season long as well. Austin Eckler is the number one RB in our league, and he went for 20 points this week, despite only 47 yards on the ground. That's the beauty of Eckler. You can always count on that work in the passing game. He caught 7 catches off of 9 targets, only 24 yards, but he found the end zone.
Yeah. Run pass, give it to Eck. It took them 3 weeks to figure that out, and once they figured it out, they're winning. So hopefully they stick with it and get healthy.
Well,
Or
did
he
they figure
stays
it out
healthy.
though? I mean, you're a fan, you're a Charger fan,
Yeah.
you watch all the time. Did they figure it out, or did they just have no other choice? I mean, once Allen goes down and Mike Williams goes down, I mean, was this just what they had to do?
Well, I think they're better with Eckler's running more. Um, to me, Herbert, I don't know if his ribs are not all together, but Herbert should be. To me, you can put anybody out there. Like he's like, to me, he's like Mahomes. He can
Yeah,
just whoever's out there catch the ball. I'll get it to you. Now, granted, Keenan Allen and Mike Williams are gone, so but you're left with Palmer and not really much else. So yeah, you might be right. They just might have to be doing that for right now.
we'll see. It's ribs. Anyone who's had a rib injury knows, man, that hurts like a son of a bitch. So who knows how much he's really, especially when you're, the motion of throwing a football just sort of requires you to sort of, extend that part of your body out a little bit. Who knows how much pain he's in every time he cocks back to throw.
Yeah, he has that perfect throwing motion.
Yeah, he really does. It was not a big game for David Montgomery. For Grant, he only totaled 36 yards in a very high scoring football game. Chicago put up 35 points, but most of the work on the ground was being done by the quarterback, not the running back for the Bears.
That's true. That's
So
true.
that hurts Montgomery a little bit.
Yeah, he's one of those. Well, that's just one of the teams that's got to figure it out because even with Montgomery, you still have Herbert, um, Khalil Herbert,
Yeah.
trying to. Those two guys are just, I guess, two-headed monsters, and equally, either one's really good or the other's really good, or they're both really bad. So
It's true. That's true.
you got to pick.
Khalil's knocking on that door though, man. That guy's got some juice. You'll see we'll see what happens in the offseason between Montgomery and him. And it'll be interesting.
Yep, I can't wait to see what kind of role the Bears get on.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see if Herbert is able to sort of lift that entire franchise and make sort of a bit of a run here. Like that division, Minnesota's kind of running away with it right now, but the Bears are certainly within striking distance.
Yeah, they could be like the Panthers. They clear house a little bit, and
Yeah.
the guys that are left are saying, "All right, let's play some football."
Yeah, you see that in the NFL. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? You see that every season. There's a team that gets rid of a coach or gets rid of a certain player, and it's just they take on a different sort of identity, and maybe it's just for a stretch of 5 or 6 games, but they go on a little bit of a run. We
yeah.
see it. Not a lot of run this week from Stephon Diggs. He only got 5 catches and 93 yards for Grant. He is the wide receiver 3, but this wasn't his week. Sauce
Yep.
Gardner was up to the challenge, I suppose.
Yeah, number one
Yeah,
sauce.
yeah, he got a pick on Josh Allen.
Yeah, he was all
Uh,
over the place.
Tyler Boyd, as we said earlier, this week was the Joe Mixon show, and anybody else in that Cincinnati offense just wasn't going to get a lot of shine.
Yeah, especially when you're up 42-21, you're probably not going to throw the ball too much.
Yeah, no doubt. That makes sense. What doesn't make sense to me is the 0 receptions for 0 yards from Tyler Higbee. I mean, this guy gets targets in this offense. I mean, I'm looking at it here: 11 targets, 9 targets, 14, 10. He got 1 target this last week. What is going on?
I say Stafford. I guess today they said he's in a concussion protocol.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, so maybe he just doesn't know what's. I think he's banged up. I think his elbow from the beginning of the season bothers him. Um, he doesn't have the same playmakers that he used. You got rid of Woods. Van Jefferson's been hurt. He kind of
Beckham.
stopped running the ball. Cooper's the only guy there. Allen Robinson is Allen Robinson. He's the same Allen Robinson that was with the Bears.
Not the one who was with the Jags.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, they're just a mess, man. They are
Yeah.
just a mess.
I mean, we hear the term Super Bowl hangover every season. And hey, look, who knows? Maybe if they land McCaffrey, things are different. Reports are that they were in, one of the finalists to get Christian McCaffrey. Maybe that changes things. Maybe they're one or two playmakers away from being a different squad, but right now they're just not. They're just not that team they were last year.
Nope. I think they're gonna have to hit the drawing board again next year and spend some money and get some pit players in there.
Yeah, yeah. If Stafford's that guy who can maybe support like a little bit of a run of a couple Super Bowls in a row, maybe we
Yeah.
maxed out on Stafford. Maybe
Yeah.
he had one run in him, and look, he did lead the league and maybe not lead the league, but he was toward the top of the league in interceptions last season.
Yep.
Let's not forget that. So winning covers up a lot of things, and that defense helped a lot last year, and it's just not the same team.
Nope. Von Miller's missing too.
Yeah, that is true. Missing for Grant this week from his lineup was Kittle, which he hurt him a lot, and Kareem Hunt.
Yep.
I'm sure he would have liked to seen Juju Smith-Schuster and his 10 catches and 88 yards in the lineup, but wasn't meant to be.
Got to play Juju, Grant.
He's coming on. Juju's coming on. We
Yeah.
talked about that a little earlier in the show. Juju's looking really good.
We'll get Grant back next week and we'll talk about the Juju. Well, we'll do a
Well,
Juju
next week I
segment.
imagine he'll have started Juju, and we'll see how we did for
Yeah.
him. So that is the week that was in the Laemmle League, and it leaves us. If you want to check out the standings
Yeah.
here, it leaves us with Apted still in first place as he has been for much of the season. Christie has settled into that second place spot, while we've got a log jam at 5-4, and then 4-5. We've got yourself, Mike D, Team Parker, and my squad at 5-4, while Grant, Curtis, and Treasurer Kleppinger are all at 4-5.
We're getting into the thick of things. I like it.
We are indeed. 6 of us will make the playoffs. 4 of us will be left relegated to the consolation bracket. Should the season end tomorrow, Apted and Christie would get buys. But of course, the season does not end tomorrow. So we'll see if any of us are able to chase down Christie or Apted
Yeah.
and claim one of those top 2 spots.
No, I'll be excited to do some strategy. People, this is the time of year where players get hurt, and you gotta fix it and see what you can put put in there, and just
Yep.
hope for the best.
Yep, there's a lot of tinkering going on. There's a lot of improvisation that needs to go on within your lineup at this time of season. You can't rely on the big name guys that you drafted, and you kind of got to know who's hot right now and who's got the right matchups, and now we're really getting into it, and we're going to find out who's paying attention and who's
Yep,
really invested and who's not.
that's right. This is it.
It's interesting. Christie's a lot of pressure on Christie to keep winning because, the 3 teams, the 4 teams behind, the 5 teams behind Christie all have higher points scored on the season, which is the first tiebreaker.
Yeah.
So should any of us catch her, even in a tie, we would have the tiebreaker.
Let's go. Let's do it.
So a lot of pressure on Team CT to keep winning. A lot of pressure on those of us chasing after her and Apted.
Yep.
But more than anything, Mike D, it's just a lot of fun, is what it is.
Exactly.
So I wish you luck this
Yep.
next week, Mike D. I wish everyone luck except for Grant, of course, who I'm playing against. And hopefully we can have him on the show next week to talk about my matchup against him. Hopefully we can have any of you on the show. We would love to have any members of the show come and talk to us. We will glorify your team. We will praise your fantasy football intellect. Come and talk to us.
Get on the show. And I'll lastly say we got another German game, European game. So wake up at 6 and drink your German beer.
It's Tampa Bay, right? It's Brady and someone,
Seahawks.
right?
Seahawks.
Oh, okay. There we go.
Gino.
That could be fun. That could be a fun game.
Yep.
Yeah, get up, get some dark beer going, and let's do this.
Wiener Schnitzel.
Some Stroop waffles if you want for the morning. I like it. All right, Mike D.
All right.
It's been a pleasure as always. Thanks for being here and talking to me.
See you on week 10. Good luck.
All right, man. Take care.
All right.